Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join our session today. My colleague Mark Reedy and my name is Magella, will be presenting today Sage 300 solutions built by ourselves CRM together. So what we're going to be looking at today are our two products, Accelerator for Sage 300, which is Outlook integration, and MobileX for Sage 300, our mobile app. Many have worked with us before in terms of Sage CRM development, so they are products that we've built for Sage CRM and now extended to 300. So one of the key factors about these two products for Sage 300 is that there is no Sage 300 user license required. So really what we're trying to achieve here is extending access to Sage 300 data across your company. So you need a license for our software, but you don't have to have an equivalent Sage license. And the idea would be that people who are on the road from the mobile side or using email can easily access the information in the Sage 300 data, such as stock items, or even just to get the contact details of somebody that's actually registered as a customer in Sage 300. So first of all, we're going to cover Accelerator for Sage 300, and you have a visual on the screen there of Microsoft 365 Outlook, and Accelerator for Sage 300 opens in a task pane alongside that. And moving around your emails will actually establish context based upon your 300 data. So reasons why you might decide to invest in Accelerator for Sage 300. Microsoft 365, popular email and communication platform. A lot of your employees more than likely spend a lot of time in email, and it's allowing them to establish context, surface Sage 300 data based on an email that's highlighted. Also, from a collaboration point of view, assuming that your Sage 300 users are possibly in your accounts side of things, there's greater collaboration in that they don't have to be ringing accounts to ask for the latest update on invoices. They can pull up that information in context from their email, and they can also record any communications that take place. So any users of Accelerator or Sage 300 would be able to see whether there was a conversation took place with a customer regarding an invoice or regarding an order or a query about when an order is to be delivered, for example. In terms of customer service, it also means that when a customer calls up to you, you have information to their financial data that you may not have otherwise. But it is a snapshot of the data. It's not a live link. So what we're doing is we're taking a snapshot of Sage 300 data and allowing users in their Outlook to surface that and establish context as they go. In terms of productivity, you don't have to leave your Outlook. You don't have to log into Sage 300. You don't have to ask anybody else questions about the data. You can actually just pop up the task pane in your Outlook and yes, establish context, but also search 300 data if you're looking for information on a particular customer. So going to swap out into Accelerator for Sage 300, and Mark is going to give you a quick demo of what that looks like.
Hi, everyone. So thanks for joining us today. So I'm going to show you an Outlook mailbox here, as you can see. So we have some kind of demo data. So you can see I've got the email here. And what we have down here then is our button that opens our Sage 300 integration here, task pane as we call it. This is installed from the App Store, so this add-in is available on the Microsoft App Stores. It does require the back-end service to be installed as well. So when you log in, first of all, I'd probably just pin it here so it doesn't keep closing. So when it does that, it bakes the email and tries to find a match in the system for this particular record. So it's matched on the email address there. And what you see straight away is you've got a summary of the customer. You can see their name, their number within the system, the contact name, their primary email address. And in this area here, then you've got the details like the summary, email, phone numbers, and address. And you can click on that link and it'll open up apps as well. And then for more sensitive details, you can see the date of the last invoice, for example, number of open documents. So more sensitive data is hidden behind the next tab. The credit limit, for example, is available there. But if some of this data is maybe too sensitive for end users, of course, it can be omitted. And that's the beauty of this, that certain data can actually just be hidden off if it's not required. You can drill into view orders in the list here. And of course, you can drill down and see effectively a summary, or you can drill into a particular order. I'll come back to this in a while. Likewise, for invoices, you've got the invoice date, invoice number. And again, you can see effectively like a mini summary, and then you can drill into that particular item as well. If we scroll across, then we have touch points. I'll come back to touch points in a moment. We've got notes in the system. So you have notes in your Sage 300 system, they will show up in here. We have comments. If you have comments in the system, these are visible. We have a tab on payments. So again, you can look up and see when the last payment was made, what the amount was, for example. So those details are available there. And as well as that, then contact information, if there's more than one contact against this item, against this customer. And we have a product report as well. It will summarize what the customer has got. So what we might want to do is we've got an email in here. it's asking us to check for an invoice. So I'm going to look up this particular invoice. So I know it's in this company. What I might do though, just to demonstrate another aspect of it, is to search for it. So we search for the invoice. We've got the invoice here. We can see there's the reference. That's the customer. All the invoice details are here. We can see even the order that it's linked to, and we can see the line items that were purchased. And what we want to do is actually file this email against this. So we're going to log this as a touch point in the system against this particular invoice. And the advantage of that is then that touch point is available then to everyone who has access to the system, and they can view that email and see all the details of that. And of course, because I'm within this invoice, I can even then see what payments were made. And I can see there were 2 payments. So again, it means I'm not context switching the system. And of course, I can log any queries against this invoice. So from an auditing point of view, we can go back and see exactly what conversations were around this particular invoice, if any. We can, of course, log a call. So we might call the customer. I would say called about, of course, we may mention payments, and we log that again. So now when we go back into our touch points, we can see that we've got our 2 items here, and we've this full visibility and trail of the actual conversations around this invoice. So as mentioned, if I go back here, you can see the different items we can actually look at here in the system. So you can search on customers, customer contacts, customer orders, vendors as well, invoices, prospects. Prospects are where you have someone that isn't in your system and you can save them as a prospect. I'll cover that in a moment. Then we've got items. Items is where you can look up the current stock items and their level. So again, if I look up this particular item, the first one, the fluorescent desk lamp. So if I click on this, it brings up all the details, the item number, the description, the price list, for example, different comments. And of course, I can look at the different locations. So I can see this is the central warehouse in Seattle, and it's got on hand this number, on PO, SO, and the total amount available. So, and again, you can look up all this information then right from within the look itself. So if someone was looking for a particular item, you can check, do you have it on stock? There is the option as well, if someone rings in, you can search on phone numbers, and this will give you various different things. So all the data, you can see, for example, it's showing all the different types of data that you can have for, it might be a vendor, it might be an invoice. So it's like a cross search against a particular item in here. So if I take, for example, this email and put it in, it'll give me all the matches that have this email against it, as you can see. So you can see then it brings up bargain mart, but it also brings up all these invoices because they're marked against it. So it's an easy way of searching on data you're not really sure about what it may be, and it'll just look across the system itself, across all the different items. As I mentioned then, if you change an email, for example, and I'll just change this one, and the system then doesn't find this email address, and it prompts me to create a new prospect. So it means then next time I can file emails against this particular prospect in the system. On the home screen itself, you've got your search area, so immediately the end user can come in and click any of these items and search, for example, against an order. So just an easy way to navigate the system. And then we have a couple of lists, a list of overdue customers, for example, any open orders and any open quotes in the system as well. So it means that you can go in and see those particular items at a glance if something's overdue, if you're doing collections and that type of thing. Okay, so that's a really quick review of the system as it is. So, Majella, I'll hand back to you.
Yeah. Okay, so Mark gave you a view there of the Outlook integration. As you can see, it's great that you can surface Sage 300 data in the context of an email address, but you can also just search generically on stock items, or, as Mark said, on a phone number or on an email address. So you're really extending the reach of your Sage 300 data beyond your staff that work on Sage 300 all day, every day, processing orders, etc. So it is a view only. It is a snapshot of data. It's updated at regular intervals using our product data islands. And just moving on to MobileX for Sage 300, super product, very similar UI. So if you have staff members using both, they would have no training issues around it. So why you might consider investing in MobileX for Sage 300, as with all mobile solutions, there's the accessibility, the opportunity to view all of the data that Mark just showed you, which is your Sage 300 data, but on your smartphone device. So again, no need to call back to office, sales team on the road, and they need to check latest invoice or what was that last order that was placed, change of staff. They don't know what the last order was. You can quickly check what's the nearest warehouse that can deliver, etc. So the accessibility is there in terms of your smartphone, and it's a very nice UI. It's easy to navigate as well. Again, collaboration is a big part of it. You can view Sage 300 and disseminate customer activity without having to call back to the accounting staff and ask them for the latest updates. Customer service, you're customer facing, you're in front of a customer, they're asking you information there, and then you can very quickly and easily bring it up on the mobile device, and Mark is going to demo that for us in a moment. And then greater efficiency. You've got relevant customer data literally in your hand of what's going on with customer. And again, touch points, Mark covered it there with Outlook integration. You can also record and use your standard features of the mobile device like recording, so you can dictate the message in, and Mark is going to show you that you can also send WhatsApp messages or regular messages and have those filed into MobileX or Sage 300, and that would also be visible to anybody that's using the software at the Outlook integration side as well. So let Mark give you a look at that.
Thanks. So as Majella said, the interface is very similar in terms of what you get. So straight away a user will come in and see the particular items they can search on. Again, you can search on the different customers here. For example, it'll search on brake, and then it only finds one, as we can see, and it's brought up then the breakaway designs is available here. So you can view, again, all the same data in here. And again, if we come to touch points, what you can do is you can do a call in, call out, as Majella mentioned, but you can also then do a message in or message out. So again, it might be an SMS. So you compose the message here, you would click send, and then you have the option to open this in SMS or using WhatsApp. And we may add more in future, but SMS then will just, so it'll save the email into the system, and then it'll open up your native SMS messaging system and put the actual text message in there ready to send to that particular phone number. Next thing then we want to show you is our email integration. And so if you click on this area here, I'm just going to have to authorize this again, of course, everything's so secure these days. So again, I can actually view my emails here, for example, and I can, of course, then if I want, I can view the email. So these are my actual emails from my Outlook. So I've connected to my Outlook system. I can view that. I can decide I want to search on this particular item. So if I click on this search icon, it's actually going to search for that item. And it's found to have this matching data here as a prospect. And I can decide then to file that email against that record. So very much like Accelerator, but on your mobile, in Outlook, but on your mobile phone, you've got your email, you're almost doing it in reverse. You're going into your application, and then you're connecting in your email, and you can then action those particular emails as well in the system. So it allows you to do that. And you can then as well, if you decide you get an email in from someone regarding some other company, for example, because I want to select maybe a different email. You can search on emails as well, actually. But let's imagine I'll just do a TLDR. So I can search on emails as well. I can click on this email, and then I can just close that window, and I want to file that email against it. And you can see then it's got the breakaway designs. It's got that particular email. I'm just going to save that particular email. And that's now saved as a touch point in the actual system itself, as you can see here. And you can even then view that email. So once you save that, anyone who's using either Accelerator or MobileX in this system, they can then see those emails. So it really does allow you to provide a better context around your ERP data, be it an order or an invoice in the system. So one thing I think I didn't cover previously in the orders was around this particular feature where you can view a particular order, and then you can go in, see the line items that were there, and then you can actually even view the current stock item for that. So if you click view, it pops up this window and it shows you the current stock item as well. So if there's images, it's possible to put images in as well for the items. But you can see then at a glance, if someone wants to reorder, you can check straight away, do we still have the products available for a reorder in the system? And you can just easily check that there then. So we try and surface the information and make it as accessible as possible for our end users in the system. And even here then manually, if an email is not matched, it'll prompt you to create a new one, but you can also manually then create a prospect as well in the system, and it'll bring in any email details that are there. And similarly, you've got the same overdue and open orders and open quotes available in the system itself. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything covered there, Majella, unless I'm forgetting something.
Great. So Mark just gave you a very quick look at MobileX for Sage 300. And as you can imagine, again, we're looking at extending the reach of your Sage 300 data. And more than likely it would be most useful for people who are on the road sales team, but obviously in the Outlook integration, there's great benefits to that as well. So overall on both of them, I guess a major plus would be that there is no Sage 300 user license required. We're launching these products using a data handling app called Data Islands. It's a product available from our website also. But the whole point is anybody who uses this software, they don't have to have a corresponding Sage 300 because they're viewing a snapshot of the data. So again, you've no Sage 300 license required. you're extending the reach of your Sage 300 data, keeping your entire company up to date in terms of invoicing, in terms of stock, allowing them to respond to queries with the customer face to face much, much quicker. We would be quite well known in the Sage ecosystem for our Sage CRM products, which include Accelerator and MobileX. But this is specifically for 300. It's nothing to do with Sage CRM. But when we attended Summit events in the past, it was something that came up a lot. Partners saying that their customers would like to be able to record communications, record, as we call them here, touch points of when they're liaising with a customer about an order, or about wanting to place an order, or even a query, complaint, etc. So that's why we actually added in that additional layer where you could record phone calls made, messages sent, etc., and emails. And really, it's to aid business growth in terms of the prospect side of it, but also better customer service. And we all know it's easier and cheaper to keep a client than it is often to get a new one. So from that customer service point of view, you're able to answer in the moment, be that through the handheld device or through the Outlook integration. There's a Q&A section available within Teams if anybody has any queries to pop them in there, or if you'd like to ask a question by voice or by text, please go ahead and do so. So some questions: will both pieces of software work with Sage 300 Cloud? And Mark, I'll let you come back on that.
Yeah, so how the system works is, as Magella mentioned, the Data Islands client is installed on the server, and then what it does is we run some queries and we export this snapshot of the data, and then this snapshot is updated over the day or daily, depending on how busy the system is. And I suppose the advantage of that is that it means that the ERP system doesn't have to be open to the internet. So the data is pushed out, and it's only certain columns, it's only certain fields. So from a security point of view, it doesn't put any extra risk on your ERP system, and data lives in the Data Islands cloud. So yeah, so Sage 300 Cloud is supported, yeah.
Okay, another query here is, can we have both CRM and Sage 300 accelerators on Outlook?
Yes, you can, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So they can run side by side. They're essentially different products in that sense. So yes, they can run side by side.
Okay, and the question, is it possible to see invoice PDFs?
Yes, it is. So if I go back here, I'm not sure if I have one in the demo, but let me just check. So the invoice PDF, if there is a PDF, yeah, so see this button here? I see Breakaway Designs. I'm not sure there is an actual PDF here, but this particular button has the option to download the PDFs for the invoices. So yes, so they are available within the invoice. And
just a query around security overall, which you kind of addressed there, but just security around the ERP data.
Yeah, so we never open a doorway into the server. What happens is that the client runs and it creates what we call a region, and effectively it takes a snapshot of the data based on the queries we have. And again, it's not all data, it's not all columns. And we can even restrict the number of rows. If you say we only want the data from the last 5 years or 2 years, it can be restricted like that. And that data is pushed up into the cloud, and the system effectively connects to the data in the cloud. So each end user gets their own account, and then they're given access to that region where the data is. And then once they leave, then their access is removed from that region. And we do, of course, use HTTPS. The data servers themselves exist physically. So for Canada, for example, we have data servers on Canada. Our APIs are Canadian. So if you're in Canada and you want to keep your data in Canada, which you should do, and the data stays within Canada, it doesn't come over to Ireland, it doesn't go to Europe, it doesn't go to the States. And so Data Islands is built in such a way that where you can pick a geography, a physical geography that your data should stay within. And so that's how that works. So your data stays within your geography. The APIs are, again, within your geography. So the data isn't traveling outside and going through random servers. And we do use HTTPS, and the APIs themselves live on AWS, and the servers are DigitalOcean as well. So we're using the kind of the big names here when it comes to hosting this particular data for the Data Islands cloud.
Okay, great. Just a question on when you're viewing an order and looking up the current stock item again, just somebody wants to see that again.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So you're viewing an order, so you get your order list, so you can search on the order based on the order number, for example, and you can of course drill in, and then when you click on the icon, it drills into the summary, and you can see this is the famous Ronald Black, and then you've got like the item, so the answering machine, and then you click on view and it brings up then the data. So you've got the summary up here, and then the location details. So you can see then this one has Seattle, there's 87, 100 there, 100 on PO, so 187. So you can view the current stock items based on, if someone wanted to reorder, you can go in and check, do you still have the stock available to do that?
Okay, next question. Which data resides on phone or Outlook versus the cloud? You may already have covered this, but just to ask the precise questions.
Well, the data is all on the cloud. So with the phone application, we have two versions. We have the web version and we've got an iOS version. We'll have Android coming out as well soon. So it's available on the iOS App Store, but of course it does require the back end. But the data is hosted in the cloud. So when the app runs, it's connecting to the cloud to fetch that data.
And just a query around the frequency of how often the data is updated.
Yeah, it just depends. So there's an actual job that runs on the server that queries and says, give me everything that's been updated in the last whatever. So it might be every hour, it might be every 10 minutes. It just depends how active the system is and how often they want to update the actual data.
Okay, and another question, what if customer have multiple Sage 300 companies?
If they've multiple companies, they would get their own regions. So they would have to connect into that particular region. So when you're setting up the system, you select a data region. So if they have company A, that would have a company A region and company B would have a company B region. So we don't merge the data together. It is separate. So someone would either have access to one of those or both of them. And then when they're logging in, they need to select which one they want to connect to. But they're effectively treated as separate companies still.
Okay, great. That's all the questions we have for now, Mark.
Okay.
So thanks everybody for taking the time. If you'd like to place an order or get a quote or talk to us to set up a specific demo, or you'd like us to demo to your customer, that's absolutely not a problem. We had a mix of partners and customers potentially on this call. So you can contact your Sage business partner or talk to us direct. Certainly, if you want to go straight to the jugular and get a quote or an order, the hyperlink is on the screen there. And I think we've actually just got another question come in. Maybe one sec. Oh no. Just somebody saying thanks. That's great. So yes, please get in touch with us. We'd be delighted to demo if there's partners online to your customers. If there's customers, get in touch with us or speak to your business partner. If we already work with them, we'd be deferring to them anyway, but drop us a line and we can have a conversation around it. So thank you very much. Mark, do you have anything to add before we sign off?
No, thanks everyone for taking the time to attend.
Hope to speak with you soon, and please do get in touch with any queries that you have. Take care.